Hello everybody, it's Sylvie, welcome back. I hope you're doing good. Today we have an unboxing of the second edition of the Bonefire Tarot. Is this upside down? Yeah. This is going to be an interesting one because I pre-ordered the second edition, forever ago while the price was like relatively cheap, with the intention of thinking a little bit more hard about if I really wanted it and then maybe cancelling the pre-order if I decided against it. And I thought I had like 2 more months to do that because last I checked, the estimated delivery date for this was in January, and then it showed up yesterday. So here we are. I did think about just returning it because I kind of was still in 2 minds about it, and I thought I can always repurchase it down the line if I decide that I want it. But I think I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna share my thoughts with you because I am interested in it. I have had a quick look at like the changes online. From what I can tell, it seems to be really hard to find a copy of the first edition, which I think is why I pre-ordered the second edition. Maybe that's changed, I'm not sure. But yeah, with all that said, let's get into it. All right, so this second edition is borderless, and I think some, if not all of the art has been refreshed, repainted. I don't know. Here is our guidebook. It's a nice chunky guidebook. Let me have a quick peek and fuck with my white balance a bit. Okay, so it looks like it's a pretty hefty guidebook, which I enjoy. So forgive me jumping around in thought, but that is how I function. So one of the reasons I was kind of on the fence in 2 minds about this is because I have the 8 Coins Tattoo Tarot. Hold on. I have the 8 Coins Tattoo Tarot, and these are both like traditional tattoo art kind of style decks. And I wanted this one for a while. I found a cheap copy on eBay. I bought it. I have barely used this, and I don't know why. Although now I'm looking at this looks a lot less busy than the artwork that I have seen for the Bonefire Tarot. So maybe I will get on with the Bonefire Tarot. My point being is that this wasn't what I wanted, and so I was kind of hesitant about buying another tarot deck in a similar art style because I thought, well, if I didn't like this, why would I want another one? But I think it might be offering something different. So finishing on the Fool, that makes sense. With that brief interlude out of the way, let's get back to the Bonefire Tarot. So yeah, I'm liking this guidebook. I'm liking how hefty the descriptions are for these cards. I'm hoping that a lot of the description is going to be about the specifics of the artwork. Ooh. But we'll see. We'll get back into that in a minute. So I love the size of this. I love those red edges, I've got to say. Okay, this is not to be like all in the comparison of the decks, but this seems a similar size to my beloved Squid Cake Marseille. But let's get into her. Please let me in. There we go. I love these red edges. I don't know if you can tell. They already look kind of faded though. I don't know. Ooh. Do you hear that? That nasty friction? They're a matte finish. I think it might be a little bit overwhelming without the black borders. We'll see. I'll get into it. The cardstock feels fine. It's matte. It feels like it's going to riffle. It doesn't feel like it's going to hold up to much abuse. Let's do a walkthrough. So here is our Fool. Gotta say, not off to the most promising start. I think it needs that border. The Magician. Who does this look like? What's that actor? Dev Patel? So I think this is one where the artwork has been completely redone since the first edition, but I don't have the first edition, so I'm not going to know that for all of them, but I do know that this art has been changed. Got our cup. Yeah, like individually, it's fine. Even just with the kind of overlapping borders from the cards behind it, it's a little bit overwhelming. So that is unfortunate. But yeah, we've got all our symbols. We've got this pack of cards. I like that kind of ode to the trickster magician. That's fun. High Priestess. Still got our pillars. Got the like fruit behind her. I like this moon and this, and the way this is flowing like water from her veil. That's really cool. Everything is unsurprisingly very fiery looking as well. I'm intrigued as to what this symbol is here as well. Empress. Got the like the wheat. This looks pomegranate-y here, and the world, and the. This is an alternative to a pregnant empress. We have this pregnant tree instead. Yeah, I don't hate that. The emperor. This one feels a little bit less straightforward, and I'm not sure why. I think I really rely on the emperor sitting in their chair on their platform specifically, and the like mountains in the background, and that kind of perspective of the realm of their responsibility, which we really don't have here, which isn't a bad thing. It's just throwing me a little bit. We've got this kind of fiery cube in several of the cards. Was it in the Empress? No. I feel like I need a bit of an explanation for some of the symbolism here, because like I say, it is a bit removed from a more traditional emperor, although we've still obviously got like the ram, we've got his crown. And I do quite like that the crown is burning, because obviously it's the Bonefire Tarot, so pretty much everything's on fire, but I like that kind of what that brings up of the idea of empire burning and kind of reconfiguring the emperor archetype. A Hierophant here. Yeah, the art is so busy, and I kind of wish it had that border actually. Like, we can mock up. Like, yeah, the border would really help frame that artwork, and I'm kind of regretting having the second edition instead of the first. Could I not get the first? Was the first like really hard to get hold of? Is that why I pre-ordered instead of just getting myself a first edition copy? I do like the matte cardstock though. It feels nice, and I think it was glossy in the first edition. Anyhow, here is our Hierophant. I am really enjoying all of the different symbols, and yeah, I feel like it's been cropped because we've got like a paintbrush and a pencil here, which is really cool for the Hierophant. Got a Taurus symbol, some bones, some fire, our crossed keys, all of that. And I like this mouth, especially like where it's placed, like above and behind, like proclaiming and all that kind of thing. I like that. But yeah, I'm really intrigued by this and what that represents. The Lovers. It's reasonably traditional. We've got our wedding rings, our apple, our snake. There's this like, we haven't got an angel though. And then we've got this like mountain, river, sunrise situation behind. This is our chariot. I love and adore this chariot. I really do. this might be a deal breaker if this, oh, let's drop the card, shall we? If this turns out to be new artwork and this isn't in the first edition, then I'm keeping this edition. I say, having only looked at 8 of the cards so far. I'm also noticing we've got this like chakra stuff going on as well. I know nothing about chakras. They're not something I pay attention to. They're not something that I, you know, learned in. So I tend to just, that and like the Kabbalah, I feel a little bit uncomfy because it, like, I've not done any study of them. So to learn some kind of like truncated basics for the purpose of reading tarot feels uncomfy and like maybe appropriative. So anyhow, that's a chakra. I don't know what it means, and I'm comfortable not knowing. Anyhow, I love that they're like bulldogs. We've got our Cancer. That took me a minute. It's because I know logically that the Chariot is Cancer, but I always get the Cancer symbol confused for the Pisces. So I was going to say Pisces. I was like, no, that's wrong. Anyway, yeah, we've got our like typical Rider-Waite-Smith symbols, which is nice. And I love this image. I really, really love this image. This is a favorite. Ooh, should I be doing like it, medium, don't like it kind of thing? Maybe I will do that on my own time because I feel like it's going to make me grumpy if there are lots in the don't like it pile. Okay, so our strength. I do like this. I like how much of a struggle it looks like, which I know is not the point of the strength card, but I think what the strength card represents is not as straightforward as it is often depicted to be. So I enjoy this. But yeah, again, it's been cropped, and that is unfortunate. The Hermit. I like this Hermit. I like the fruit and the flowers. Like, I just think that's a different take on the Hermit from what I've seen before. A lot of them are very cropped in. You don't get a lot of landscape in any of these, actually, that I've seen so far, which is not like a deal breaker for me because like the Morgan Greer is like that, and I really like the Morgan Greer, but it makes it a little bit harder for me to read if I don't have, well, not harder, I just have to, it's just a different reading experience, I suppose, and if I have a lot of like scenery and landscape and kind of context, I suppose, for the figure in the card. I've definitely said before, I don't like portrait decks. I don't like decks that are too people-y, but this one is working for me, I think, because it's so heavily stylized that I don't think that's going to be a particular problem. Anyhow, our Wheel of Fortune. This is more interesting than most Wheel of Fortune cards, which is nice. We've got our beasties, and then this is like giving like piratey vibes with the ship, or not pirates specifically, I suppose, just like seafaring vibes with the ship and the like ship's wheel. And like the money is quite interesting as a symbol. Like, I know we often talk about the wheel as luck, and like I feel like gambling is often thrown around when we talk about the Wheel of Fortune, but it's cool to see it depicted like that. And we've got our Infinity, and she's blinded, or like blindfolded rather. And there's not usually a human figure on the wheel in the first place, so that's cool. I want to know what the guidebook has to say about this. Okay, our Justice. This is gorgeous. It's busy. I'm going to say it again. We're seeing a lot of the same symbols for sure, kind of repeated throughout. That's beautiful. I quite like this like kind of spider's web thing that's going on here. I don't know if that's just like shading or if that is actually a spider's web. But I'm thinking of justice in getting tangled up in like the legality of things versus the morality of things. Like that's really interesting. I also love that these plates are like these blue china pattern rather than like your traditional looking scales, so that's cool. And this that she's holding, this is beautiful. Okay, our Hanged Man with, it looks cold because the branches look snowy to me. I think that's just a choice rather than being supposed to look wintry, but I like it. And then we've got the apples, which is interesting because that is referencing, to me, that's in my mind referencing the lovers. And I don't know that I've ever really thought about the lovers and the Hanged Man as any kind of pairing before. So that's really interesting. I'll have to like come back to that. Okay, and our death card. This is stunning. This is beautiful. I'm obsessed. I love these towers. I love this raven. I have no idea what this says, but I hope the guidebook tells me. Got our Scorpio. I'm going to try not to say it constantly, but I wish it wasn't cropped in. But this is gorgeous. This is a favorite card, art-wise, definitely. Temperance. This is also really lovely. It's giving like 40-foot woman. And we've got the liquid pouring from above. See, this is interesting because this is definitely like directional in terms of the liquid pouring from, instead of the usual temperance where it's like, oh, the liquid could be flowing either way. Like this is very clearly in a direction because we've got the like impact over here. And I like the irises as tattoos. And this like new way, old way, that's really interesting. This is cool. I want to look into it a little bit more, but this is really cool. I'm like talking myself into keeping this deck, but I'm also in the back of my mind like maybe I could also find a first edition or just find a first edition and swap it. But I like this cardstock. Anyhow, so we have the devil. I think I like this devil. We've got our apple here, got our money, and the shackles, but also being held by the devil as well as like shackled. That's a bit of an interesting like two ways of looking at it. The tower. This is, you know what I said about it being quite like a focused in perspective? Like this is really true. Like this is definitely not the tower I'm used to seeing. We're not seeing the tower itself kind of crumbling. We're just seeing this kind of chaos, and like we've got cards that we saw in the Magician and the Hourglass we saw in the Emperor. I know that there's a lot of repeating symbols anyway, but yeah, I will say this is one of the less impactful towers that I've seen, I think. I don't know what the umbrella's doing. Yeah, I think this is not my favorite tower. Got our star card. And we're in the water. I don't love a star card where the figure is in the water. Like I think the I mean, several do it. The one I'm thinking of is the Unfolding Path, which I anti-hauled, unhauled, put in purgatory, what have you. It's actually still in my cupboard. I just haven't got rid of it yet. But anyway, that star card, the figure is also submerged instead of being like on the bank. And that's not my favorite take on it. But you know, we're pouring into the water. We're pouring onto the roots of this tree. Yeah, it's not my favorite star, I'll be honest. And I think again, it's because there's not a lot of landscape, there's not a lot of scenery, and the scenery is the important thing to me in the star card, so not my fave. Hypocritically though, I love this moon where there also is not much of scenery, so yeah, this is really cool though. Here's our like pencil and paintbrush again. I will be interested to read the guidebook and see if these are meaningful or if they're just kind of shoved in as like, not shoved in, but if they're just like repeating motifs in like the style of tattoo flash sort of thing. My god, I've been filming for 24 minutes. This is going to be a long one, sorry. I'm not sorry, that's a lie. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. I like this arch instead of the towers as well. That's cool. The sun, not my favorite sun. Although like, I do like that the wall is like around the sun. It's given me the perspective of looking up from inside a well, which I'm not sure is necessarily what the artist was going for, but that's what I'm getting. But I do like that the wall exists, because that like the walled garden is important to me to see in the sun, or important to me to see, but is one of those symbols that I really grabbed onto when I was first learning the Rider-Waite-Smith, was the like paradise found, but it's a walled garden, you can't stay there forever. Like it's a little bit of a not fiction, but curated, artificial might be the word I'm looking for, or just that it's not the complete everything. I'm getting a little bit off track here, but this is our sun. I don't love it, I don't hate it. Judgment. This looks really cool. That's maybe about all I have to say. Got our like judges, gavel, and I don't know, I quite like these like figures that are in her like face, and the idea of judgment as a bit of a mirror or a reflection upon, you know, the past. That's quite cool. And finally in our mages, we have the world. I can't decide if I think this card is beautiful or not. I think it is. That sounded really insulting. I mean, I like it. I can't decide if I like love it visually or if I just like it visually. I think I love it. Anyway, it's gorgeous regardless. We've got our wreath, and this is our infinity and our creatures, and a magic wand, but a very like fairy godmother-esque magic wand. Yeah, okay, so that was our major arcana. And now moving into our minor. I don't know if these will be any less busy, I suspect not. Okay, this is beautiful though. This is our Ace of Wands. It looks like our wand suit is pine cones, which is cool. It's an Ace of Wands, there's not much else to say, is there? Our 2. This is cool, I like this. Like obviously we've just got the hands, and from what I can see of the 3, it looks like maybe that's a theme. Oh no, there's people, maybe not. But the hands are doing what they're doing in your traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. Like one hand is holding onto a wand and one hand is holding onto the little globe. We've got our mountains in the background still. This is really cool. I really like this 2 of Wands. This is another favorite card, I think. 3 of Wands. Our plans are setting off. Ski slopes? Question mark. I've never been skiing. I'm too poor to go skiing. But that's what that's looking like to me, which is intriguing. And we've got our little like, I guess this is our plan or our map, and then this is what we're seeing that is going according to plan, maybe. So I like that. 4 of Wands. I choose to see this as a lesbian couple getting married. because I can, assuming that we're following the Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism. We've got that. Although they're two women in the Rider-Waite-Smith card, aren't they? But they're not the ones getting married, they're just celebrating. But regardless. This is not my favourite card though. Like I feel like there's not that much to read into, but I'll see what the guidebook says. Five of Wands. We've only got 2 figures in this instead of the usual 5, but it's definitely showing an argument. I think this like dark sky and the bare trees is looking a little bit like troublesome. Six of Wands. My memory card was full because I talk too much. I was saying this is a cool 6 of Wands. Because we've only got 1 figure, it looks less like a public celebration than I'm used to seeing in the 6 of Wands. And because these pine cones are like bloody, that's a bit of a darker take. And also then these oak leaves on his arms and these horns. I'm like, is that an Oak King reference? I don't know. I don't know my mythology well enough to know if that fits, but I'm interested. Our 7 of Wands, like defensive for sure. This again, like the 4, not my favourite. We've got diamonds on mountaintops, so I don't know what that's about. Yeah, it's not my favourite 7. The 8. This looks just so super cool. And then this rainbow road is pretty cool. I feel like the horseshoe like is an element of luck in terms of opportunity to the 8 of Wands for me. Like this opportunity is fairly sudden in arrival, and you've kind of got to grab it while you have the chance. So to have that horseshoe in there is cool. Same with like the playing card in a way. There's not been playing cards in all of them, has there? No. But this is another one of my favorite just like visual cards. They're all visual cards, but you know what I mean. Like I just like looking at it regardless of whether I think the symbolism is any good. I think this is a really cool card. And here is our 9. Looking a bit beaten up, but it's sprouting. Not sprouting. Sprouting. Although some of them were, some of them weren't. Most of them were. Just the 8s that weren't. I truly am oblivious, aren't I? Well, not sprouting, but like has needles on it. Yeah, it's just the 8s that didn't. Okay. But yeah, looking pretty beaten up. But then there's like a skeleton in the back. There's definitely like a bit of an edge to a lot of these cards. And our 10, that's definitely looking burdensome. But she looks pretty peaceful. You know what I mean? She doesn't look like she's really struggling too hard. This again is not my favorite 10 of Wands in the world. It's fine. I don't love it. Okay. Our Page of Wands has pinecone, also has apples. I like this like paper airplane with the pages being about like often about like messages and communication and travel. That's really cool. Okay, our Knight of Wands. I didn't realize that this was going to be a problem for me, but I don't like that they're not on their horse. I didn't know I felt that way about the knights, but apparently in my brain the knights should be on their horses. Okie doke. Queen of Wands. Love her cool hat. The volcano in the background as well. Very cool. I think court cards that are just like a bit of a portrait like this, they're not bad, but they're never going to be my favourite court cards. And here's our king, which again, like, is fine. I'm trying to figure out, so you've got like a night sky in the background, and then this like red and orange. Could be anything, frankly, but looks very cool. Is a lovely card. Okay, we're moving straight into the swords, which is my favourite suit. I adore this ace. This is gorgeous. I have high hopes. Don't let me down. Yeah, I mean, it's an ace, so it's just a sword in the sky, but it looks very cool. We've got this apple cut in half. We've had apples in a few cards where I wouldn't usually expect or like anticipate seeing them. Like we had the Hanged Man and we had the Page of Wands had a load of apples. Got our like regular 3-leafed clovers down here. I also love this. I love the colours in the background, these pinks and the deep indigo-y purple. 2 of Swords. Okay, this is really, what is this creature in the background? It's got horns. So I guess it's maybe like a sheep or a ram or something else. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. I like this hourglass in the 2 of Swords. That like, it adds that element of like pressure for me, which I always feel in the 2 of Swords. Still got our moon and our water in the background. That's nice. I'm really loving the colour palette in these swords. This is our 3. This is certainly much more interesting than your typical 3 of the Swords card. Like we have our teary eyes and we're on the water, like we're not in a storm, but there's a lot of water still in this card. There's a lot of emotion there. Oh, I see, it's a sail. Is it? That's really cool. Four of Swords, resting, relaxing. But also, this is like an alarm clock, right? Interesting. And the way, like, I've no idea what the intentions behind this card are, but the way that she's got like one boot on, like it's not feeling very relaxed. And that with this like alarm clock thing, like it's a short rest in D&D terminology. You know, it's not like a super luxurious rest. It's a necessary pause. 5 of Swords. It's a pretty standard 5 of Swords. What else is there to say? I still really enjoy. I suppose we're seeing the fighting happen instead of just the aftermath, which I guess could change the interpretation somewhat. Because I usually see my like main thing for the 5 of Swords is like, you won, but was it worth it? And I suppose here nobody's won yet, but yeah. This is another contender for my favorite artwork in this deck. I think this is beautiful. This is our 6 of Swords. And I think it symbolizes the 6 of Swords really, really well also. This is just gorgeous. The shapes in the sky, in the background, the yellow and the purple. We're in a little leaf on our travels. And then this is, oh god, what's it called? The staff and the snake and the wings. It begins with a C, but my brain has abandoned me. Okay. 7 of Swords. Gonna be honest, this isn't feeling especially 7 of Swords to me. Not my favorite. I suppose these eyes in the background could maybe be doing something, but there's eyes in the backgrounds of a lot of these cards, so I'm not so sure. 8 of Swords. pretty standard. See what I mean? More eyes. It's a pretty standard Eight of Swords though. Blindfolded, tied up, trapped by swords. Yeah. Love this 9 though. This is really cool. We have chess pieces. Ooh, I like that. Can I articulate why I like that so much? The idea of the 9 of Swords, of the anxiety, of the worry, of the things that you're like going over and over in your mind, and then the chessboard, and the idea of like, I don't know, playing chess with your own anxieties. Ooh, that's really, really cool. I like that a lot. I definitely need to look at the guidebook and like sit with that a bit, because I think this is a really, really cool 9 of Swords. This and the Chariot, I think so far are like my favorite cards, and this 6 of Swords. Cool. Our 10 of Swords is appropriately melodramatic. I love these vultures. Again, I love the background. I just think the sword suit is always a favorite, because I'm a swords bitch as a person. But this is just like gorgeous. I love the colors in the swords. But aside from that, yeah, it's a pretty straightforward Rider-Waite-Smith inspired 10 of Swords that we've got here. Okay, our Page of Swords is looking a little bit more perilous than our Page of Pentacles was. I like that we're like up high in the air, but we can see the ground, and with the page is earth and air, and like you control the kite from the ground. I like where I'm going with that in terms of the elemental associations of the Page of Swords. Okay, this is a good knight. This knight is on his horse. I love the like chaos of the art, and that kind of like fast movement, rushing energy of the Knight of Swords. Do we see this little butterfly? Love that. Have there been more butterflies that I've missed? Yeah, that's really, really cool. Queen of Swords, this is my significator. I like a Queen of Swords that looks a bit like a bitch, and she's a bit empressy. More butterflies though, love that. I love how like the scale of this, the way this is like playing with scale, it's like she's huge and above the clouds, which is pretty cool. And our King of Swords, with 2 sets of horns, no less. And a little hairy baby. I'm sorry, that was not taking this very seriously. Yeah, it's fine. It's a King of Swords. Another gorgeous ace. This is beautiful. I love it. No notes. 2 of Cups. Got our like little heart-shaped branches. That's cute. And our cups. And yeah, it's a 2 of Cups. I like how they're like intertwined with her hair here. That's cool. See this thing with the staff and the snakes. Maybe there aren't usually wings on it. Maybe I made the wings up in the whichever card it was. Now I fear I've oh, here. Who knows? Clearly not me. 3 of Cups. I feel like it's interesting to see the crescent moons here. Do we usually see the crescent moon in the 3 of Cups? Have I never noticed that before? Either way, I I think this is pretty. I think it's a little bit too tranquil for my personal taste, but I like the grapes because they're giving like Dionysus and drinking and revelry, so that's fun still. This is our Four of Cups, which, yeah, is a pretty straightforward Four of Cups. I think it's really, really pretty. I love the effect of this like orangey red yellow sky with the blues of the water and the branches. That's really gorgeous. Sorry, I can't seem to figure out where my frame is today. That's beautiful. But it's a pretty standard Four of Cups, but I'm not mad at it. I don't love this Five of Cups because we are too close up on the face, but I like what we've got here. I love the effect of the water in this artwork, this like swirly goings on. But this is not my favorite Five of Cups. Because too much of it is taken up with a person. I don't like people looking at me in my decks, and I know like we don't have eye contact here, but it's a lot of face. I don't know where to look. I'm too autistic for this much human interaction in my tarot cards, okay? Six of Cups. This is really cool. This is really cool. So we've got this like exchange, and purely going off the color of the hair, we can assume that maybe this is like a younger version. And then we've got like a sandcastle and the house, but also the scale is off. And the scale in the Rider-Waite-Smith Six of Cups is also a bit weird because it looks like a small child in like old woman's clothing, and like things are just a little bit strange. So I like that the scale is also a little bit strange in this Six of Cups. And this kind of like older self, younger self, and maybe like older self with the house and younger self with the sandcastle. Like that's really cool. This is a really cool Six of Cups. I like it. And this is definitely another one of my favorite cards. This Seven of Cups. We have 7 different hot air balloons with different artworks in them. And I like also that they look like plant pots almost, which I think is just cool. No idea if that was the intention, but it's what I'm seeing. And so I like when in any Seven of Cups card where the choices are all illustrated differently, because that is the point of the Seven of Cups. And so I like that that's here. I'm also liking that the shape of the like hot air balloons are shaped like light bulbs. And I'm thinking of that thing where like you have a light bulb moment when you have an idea or you make a connection. And although the Seven of Cups is obviously like feelings and emotions, I'm really liking the idea of like choosing between like 7 different ideas. Like that's cool. I like that. This is our Eight of Cups, and this is a pretty standard Eight of Cups. And I have nothing particularly to say about it, frankly. I think it looks very cool. I think it's really pretty because we've got these pretty like pink flowers. And we already know I like how the clouds are done, I like how the water's done. But yeah. And we can see a bit more scenery. Like I said, I like it opposite to the Five of Cups where we just had face. I'm enjoying this one where we've got like a lot more like depth in terms of the scene. I like this. Our Nine of Cups. This I quite like. So we have our like traditional Rider-Waite-Smith Nine of Cups imagery in the background. And I don't like the Rider-Waite-Smith Nine of Cups. The guy looks way too smug and it gives me the ick, if you will. But this, because it's a like painting, and then we've got like, I don't know if I get it. I suppose the frame is very like opulent, and we've got the fish, and I suppose Nine of Cups is going to be Pisces again. Who even knows if that was the intention here, but it's there. And we've still got like a lot of stuff. I want to read the guidebook about this because I'm not really sure. Like, I'm not getting a lot of I guess like intuitive vibes of the artwork. I don't think I've come across any other cards that so directly reference the Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, this is the Nine of Cups from Pamela Coleman Smith's artwork. So that's interesting. Ooh. This Ten of Cups is absolutely gorgeous. We have a picnic, we have a rainbow. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck, hands down. This is just like stunning. I love the colors. I love this picnic vibe to the, did I call this the Nine of Cups? This is the Ten of Cups. But I love this like picnic scene. Interesting also that this one has no people. Especially because this is such a people-y deck. Like, it's been so focused in on the figures, and then this is all scenery. Like, I'm loving it. Got a two 4-leaf clovers here, no less. This is beautiful. A little cupcake. I love this card. This is a favorite. Absolutely. Okay, Page of Cups. Love this Page of Cups. This is really nice. Like, it definitely is a pretty traditional, like, we've got our page with a cup with a fish in, but I just think it looks really cool. Our Knight of Cups here, I think this is a really interesting Knight of Cups. It again is like quite traditional. Like, we've got our like cliff here, and we assume the horse is like stepping between the water and the shore. But then this like mist is interesting. Especially thinking of the Knight of Cups as somebody who is listening to their heart and not their head, and is maybe getting a bit caught up in their own feelings, and maybe that like, I don't know, a confusing fog of emotions, like that sort of a thing. I like the bubbles as well. Like, I just think they're pretty. But again, like, oh, it's so busy when you look at two cards next to each other. Oh, I was getting over that. I was talking myself out of it because I love the artwork so much. This is a really beautiful Queen of Cups. I love her. We're coming out of the water. This cup is beautiful, which is appropriate for the Queen of Cups because in the Rider-Waite-Smith, of course, she has that really ornate covered like goblet. Yeah, this is just gorgeous. And our King of Cups, which is fine. I don't think I've loved any of the kings in this. Like, it's fine, it's a King of Cups. But it's like, there's nothing to like super differentiate it from. Like, this is what I feel about a lot of the courts in a lot of decks often, is that aside from the fact that this one has a fish in her cup and this one has a big crown on his head, like, there's nothing to really tell the difference between these two. Like, we have figures holding cups surrounded by water and fish. Like, they're kind of the same. I'm all out of order now, aren't I? But like, and again, like, surrounded by water holding a cup, like, there's not really a lot of difference between these two. One has a crown on, the other one doesn't, which I think is just a problem that I have with a lot of court cards in a lot of decks. So it's not, I'm not specifically criticizing this tarot for that. It just, you know, it's fine. I don't love it. I love this ace. All the aces in this deck are absolutely beautiful. I am seriously loving this Ace of Coins though. I like the little like keyhole as well. Two of Coins. Pretty standard Two of Coins, I want to say. We're balancing. Boats on the water in the background. We're not going to think too hard about the anatomical whatever is happening here. But yeah, that's pretty standard. Again, interesting that this particular card, this Three of Coins, has no human figures in it because, like I said about the Ten of Cups, right? The Ten of Cups usually shows a family, and the Three of Coins usually shows three people, and this is a very people-y deck. But I like this. I do think it maybe loses some of the messaging, though, without showing the three working together. So I'll be interested to see what the guidebook has to say. But I really like this image. I think it's gorgeous. Like, we've got these carrots growing. We can see the different elements and tools and things, and like this arch that has been built. I suppose, yeah, and like growing things and like or ready for harvest. We've got these carrots, we've got this wheat or something in the background. Yeah. Okay, I take it back. I like this. This works without the people. 4 of coins here. I think I like this. I think I like this 4 of coins. You have more apples. So usually the 4 of coins, somebody is like holding tightly to their coins. And here he's up his tree that's got like keys and locks and diamond rings and coins on. So I feel like that has a very similar energy to it. That looks really cool. 5 of coins. It's a pretty straightforward 5 of coins, to be honest. Somebody is stuck outside in the snow instead of going in to... I like that this has less like Christian overtones though, for sure. Yeah. 6 of coins. Gonna be honest, not really seeing the 6 of coins in this 6 of coins. Like, oh, is this a purse? Okay, so this is like a coin purse. That took me a minute. And we're putting into it, growing from it. I don't really get it in terms of aligning with the 6 of coins meanings of like give and take. I can see this as like I could see this as like a 9 of coins almost, like we're putting money in the purse, we're like investing it in what we're growing and then we're gaining from it. But I'm not really seeing 6 of coins here. So again, I'll be intrigued to see what the guidebook says. This being our 7 is a pretty standard 7, not gonna lie. With the addition of a baby, who is not such a standard 7. But yeah. The 8, I like the art here. Somebody honing their craft. We've got like the ball of yarn that the sweater's made from. Again, these coins growing into things. Wow, I cannot stop talking today. This is a long one. Going to be a long one, rather. Here is our 9, which is, again, a pretty standard 9. Got our grapes, got our coins, got a little snail. I like him. And a bird. Yeah, it's a standard, pretty standard Rider-Waite-Smith 9, to be honest. And then this 10, which again is pretty absent people, but we do have a little dog, which is all I ever really need to see on a 10 of coins. This is gorgeous though. The coins and the flowers. And like, there's some that are like just still sprouting, so I feel like it still shows that generation really nicely. And we've got our like big manor house in the background. That's a really nice 10 of coins. I really enjoy that. Okay, our page of coins is juicing lemons. Good for them. I love this 9 of coins. Once again, we're on our horse. Love to see it. I like this like tortoise, that like slow and steady energy to the Knight of Coins. And the conkers are cool. I don't know what they may or may not represent, but I think it's a cool image. I like that. Sorry, I can't find the frame today, but we're nearly done. This is our Queen of Coins. We've baked a rabbit into a pie. I don't understand. I don't understand this Queen of Coins, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I don't love the courts in this deck. They're not doing a whole great deal for me. I really like this King of Coins though. I feel like the King of Coins is one I do understand quite, like, among the courts. I was stalked by the King of Coins earlier this year. King of Pentacles, King of Discs. No matter what deck I used, he kept popping up. So I feel like I read a lot of guidebook interpretations about the King of Coins, and I have a pretty decent idea of him. It's definitely, like, I say definitely, it's not definitely anything. I'm just making associations in my own brain. I'm making Alice in Wonderland associations is where that was going, because there's like all the playing cards and things, which, is that even an Alice? Yeah, no, that is an Alice in Wonderland thing, but that's just all through the deck, so I'm pulling associations where there aren't any, and the pocket watch was what I was looking at specifically there. Gosh, that was a convoluted and not very well explained glimpse into my thought process, wasn't it? But yeah, there's our King of Coins. I do quite like this actually as a court card, because we've got all these things growing. Like, he's a provider, he can manage resources and make sure everyone's taken care of, sort of a thing. Okay, I think I talked myself into, I mean, I have spoken for I've been filming for over an hour now. And most of that was walking through the deck. So I had a lot to say. I saw a lot in the cards. I really like the art. I just don't know if I can get over how busy it looks. Let's also, why does this Fool look blurry compared to everything else? Because I think some of these cards are just so gorgeous, and then the Fool is like dusty looking. What's up with that? Okay, obsessed with these edges. Let's give it a shuffle, and I'm going to see how the cards look all laid out together, and just see what I think. Also, I love the size. Oh, that doesn't riffle for shit. That's really weird, because it's flexible. I'm so baffled by that. I was expecting to be able to riffle this. It's nice to shuffle overhand, because the size is really lovely. Let me... Oh, there's that Nine of Swords I liked. So this is a US Games, like, regular sized tarot. And you can see it's wider and shorter. But I don't think it's as small as the squid cake. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. It's bigger than the squid cake, but it's similar kind of proportions. You see what I mean? Like, it's that kind of short, fat deck, which I really enjoy. Okay, so even though they're matte, they are picking up a bit of a reflection, and it's picking up a bit of glare from my lights. So I apologize for that, but I wish they were bordered. I think it would just be, like, it's a bit chaotic, you know. They're very busy artwork, and they're really gorgeous, and I think some of that gets lost. It's very confusing to the eye without having some kind of border, something to, like, differentiate a little bit. God, I love that Death card. That's gorgeous. And that Ten of Cups. Yeah, without something to kind of contain the artwork. Don't love that Fool. Don't love that Five of Cups. Do like that Six. Do like that Seven. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna play with some pairs. I'm gonna see what I think. I've definitely convinced myself into the Bonefire Tarot. I really do love these edges, but I don't know if I've convinced myself into this edition, or if I'm gonna have to seek out a first edition. I'm also going to have to watch some comparisons. If anybody has done a comparison of both decks, point me to that video, please, because I might have to do a bit of a comparison, but I might also have to try and get a first edition copy with the black borders, because, yeah, it just needs it. But this is gorgeous. Anyway, pairs. Okay, I got overexcited. I pulled out arguably too many decks, so let's work through these. and see what looks good. Oh, seriously, way too many decks. I don't know if I'll show you all of these. Okay, in no particular order, we have the Animal Apothecary, which is an Oracle deck by Hay House, which I got recently-ish. I've been loving, and it seems to work with so many different decks. So let me just fuck about with angles and lighting for a minute. What do we think? I like this a lot. This has borders, which is necessary, and I think they've both got like similar line work. I like this with the two rainbows. That's lovely. But this is like flat color, so I think this works. Let's see, how do I usually read? I usually read with 2 tarot and 1 oracle. So let's do this like a proper YouTuber, shall we? I think that's minimal glare as we're gonna get, but since I usually do 1 oracle with 2 tarot cards, I'm not obsessed with it, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh, this is gonna be so tricky to pair, and I think it would just work so much better with borders. Okay. Okay. Not bad, not amazing. That's the Animal Apothecary Oracle. This is a bit of a wild card pairing, maybe. So this is the Occult Ornithology tarot deck. This is a Mages only tarot deck that I picked up recently at Comic-Con, actually. It's an indie tarot deck by a UK-based creator. And I just thought the colors, I was thinking of like this particular Emperor and like the oranges and the reds. And again, I think because it's got black borders, I think it works a bit better. I like these two. Art styles are pretty different, but again, there's a lot of like line work. Again, because this is so like uncontained, this what are you even called? The Bonefire is so like uncontained because it doesn't have that border and it's so chaotic, and we've got like the images like being cropped at the edges. I think it needs something that A, has borders, and I think because this has a lot of line work and flat colors as well, it feels a lot more contained, which works. So yeah, that's the Occult Ornithology. Let me know if you want like a walkthrough or a bit of a closer look at this, because they have the guidebook as well. And I think it's a really nice little Mages only deck that I've not seen pop up on YouTube much. So I would love to give it some attention if anyone is interested. This is the New Chapter Tarot. It's a Liminal 11 deck. Why is the tower sitting on top? And this one feels a little bit frothy to me. Ooh, the texture of the colours is nice. This has got that like watercolory finish, and they've both got like a lot of shading and like a fair bit of like translucency to the colours, so I think they work really nicely. The art styles are obviously really different. I think it's, from what I can see in my viewfinder, should we zoom us in a bit? Yeah. I feel like it looks better in person. I love these two together. Oh my goodness. I feel like it maybe looks better in person than it does in my viewfinder anyway, but we'll see how it comes out. I like these together though. When I said this felt more frothy, what I mean is the minors, they've got a lot more like geometry to them. Okay, I like these two together. This has a much more subdued colour palette as well, which I think is nice. I also like the shapes really echo each other, and they're actually more different than I thought. Like the Liminal 11, the what is this, New Chapters, is taller and thinner, but they're both squatter than a traditional typical tarot card size. And I think that works nicely as well. Okay, do I think this pairing is going to look good? No, but I simply must know how they look together. This is the Tarot de El Dios de los Tres. This is a super chaotic card, super chaotic deck of cards rather. And actually, this works. I thought it would be an immediate no, and it's certainly not an immediate yes. But honestly, it doesn't look as kind of messy and chaotic as I thought it would. Maybe because, although the... do you know what? I don't know. Maybe because the this is a lot more pippish in the minors. But they've both got like a lot of similar symbols. Like I was thinking this has a lot of cards in the Bonefire, and I know that the El Dios de los Tres has a lot of like dice and a lot of like similar symbology. Is symbology a word, or do I mean symbolism? The colour palettes are completely off though. The colour palettes are not a vibe that I'm interested in. But yeah, like I'm not going to pair these two together, but they look better than I expected them to. Alright, again, I don't know that these are going to work. I just need to see what the chaos looks like. This is the Rain Coast Tarot. This is available on Make Playing Cards. And I've been neglecting this deck, the Rain Coast, because I like two of the minor suits and I don't like the other two. Yeah, so again, I'm not going to be reading with these two together on the regular because like there's just too much happening. There's just too much going on. Although I quite like how those look, not gonna lie. Yeah, we've got again a magician with like the cards, like a bit of a trickster magician. Two knights next to each other. That's pretty cool. But yeah, like the art styles are completely different. I just wanted to see, because they're both pretty chaotic, pretty non-traditional decks with a lot of like weirdness going on in the symbolism. So yeah, this was for my curiosity to see what they look like. This one is a random choice. This is the Tarot Nuage, and I was just intrigued because this is a pretty like grungy deck, but something in the art styles, especially in the way the like faces are done, like something feels right, and I think I like these together. Even though this is borderless, the Nuage, but do you see what I mean? Like they're not like, I don't know, like a lot of the faces are quite angular in both of them. Like the proportions in a lot of the faces are like a little bit off, and I think the grunginess of this color palette works nicely against the vibrancy of the Bonefire. The Nuage is also a little bit more pippish, which again is like a little bit simpler looking. I think I really like these together. Yeah, that's really cool. Every time I just love the red edges, and I would be lying if I said that wasn't a large part of the reason I want to keep this deck around. We have another liminal 11 deck. This is the Cosmic Slumber, otherwise known on this channel as a deck that I don't like to read with, but I do apparently like to pair with everything. Again, do I think these will actually go together? Not necessarily. I'm just intrigued. This is another really bright deck. I like these together though, the Death and the Magus. Do you know what? Maybe it's just because I'm pulling a lot of torches. Oh, do you know what though? The way, you know, I said I love how the clouds and the water is done. I'm now not seeing any. Like the water here and like this effect to the clouds and things in the Bonefire. Like here's a good example, the water in the Three of Cups. And I feel like Tilly Walden does a similar-ish effect to the water and then like these clouds and this fire. in their deck. Like, do you see what I'm getting at? There's like a reminiscence of the between them of how a lot of the like movement is done. That's what I'm getting at. There's a lot of movement in the art in both of these decks. I really like these together as well. This is a bit of a simpler card from the Cosmic Slumber though. Queen of Swords and the Devil. Do you know what? I think I like these. I thought it would be really overwhelming. The colours in these match so well as well. The Three of Swords and the Seven of Torches with those like deep pinks and purples. Beautiful. Two of Swords and the Knight. Ace of Swords and Queen of... Like, what do you think? Am I just talking myself into it? Or does that really work? King of Wands next to the Queen of Torches there. Like this, does this work? Is it just me? And the colours, beautiful. The Nine of Swords and the Four of Torches. Like, this works so much better than I expected. This is why I cannot get rid of the Cosmic Slumber, because it pairs so well with so many things, even though I don't really like it as a tarot deck. I don't like it as a tarot deck because the artwork seems so far removed from the Rider-Waite's, from any system really, and the guidebook is crap. And Tilly Walden was not familiar with tarot before doing this deck, and I think you can tell. So I have like beef with this deck, but it's gorgeous. Anywho, this definitely isn't going to work. This is just another new acquisition and I want to try it. This is the Autonomic Tarot. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. This, so the Autonomic was my most recent new deck. I did an unboxing a week or two ago. Yeah, this is not working as a pair. I just thought they were both cool and a bit like different, but they're different in different ways. This is a pip deck. Yeah, that's a no. Also, the sizes are just like way off. I think that just makes it, especially because they're both tarot. If one of them was Oracle, I might be okay with it, but no matter. Right, with a lot of these choices, I just seem to be going like more is more is more and like leaning into the maximalism. So this is the Queer Tarot. The Queer Tarot is a fabulous deck that I really wish I pulled out more, but the cardstock is horrid and I hate shuffling it. And frankly, that's why I don't reach for it. But I thought that they might work because, like I said, I'm leaning into the more is more is more, and there's like a similar like translucency to some of the colours. Oh, I like those together, the Empress and the Queen of Wands. And obviously they've both got really saturated colour palettes. Although saturated in like different directions. Like this is a lot of neons and like really bright colours in the Queer Tarot, and there's just a lot of like deep rich colours in the Page and a King of Pentacles. Deep rich colours in the Bonefire. So yeah, not terrible, I don't think. Oh, that's very chaotic though. Oh yeah, I think the King of Coins is just such a busy card. Oh, I like how they look together. That's really cool. The Magician and Temperance. Yeah, not the worst pairing in the world, but not amazing. I quite like the idea of pairing the Bonefire with, this is a really straightforward Rider-Waite-Smith clone. Let's be honest, it's just got a different art style, a different colour palette, and a bunch of queer people in. But yeah, because the Bonefire is so busy, it's so far removed from the Rider-Waite-Smith in some cards, although some were really straightforward. I think pairing it with a straightforward Rider-Waite-Smith clone is not a bad shout. Eight of Wands, Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, like I'm not super convinced. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Okay, I have pretty high hopes for this one. This is the Fifth Spirit Tarot. But I fear that those hopes may not be, maybe dashed. I don't know, I was thinking like, again, like this has got borders, this is a bit more simplistic. The colour palette in the Fifth Spirit is more subdued and muted, but it's not working like the Nuage was, which was much more like neutral and grungy. Although I do like the Devil and the Moon together, I think they look good. Also, the Fifth Spirit is just one of my favourite decks, so I'm always down to pair it with things. Yeah, I'm not convinced. Yeah, this isn't doing it for me, unfortunately. Okay, I swear I'm not actually going to try and pair this with every single deck in my collection, but I am going to pair it with a bunch more because I've only had 1 or 2 pairings that I really liked, and that simply is not good enough for me. So this is the Wild Unknown Pocket Edition, which has been a surprisingly good little deck to pair with things, and I thought because it was colours but also black and white and fairly simple that this might work. And I think I maybe was onto something. Oh, 2 of Cups, that's cute. They clearly want to be together as decks. Yeah, this isn't bad actually. And again, I quite like the mini size because this is a smaller deck. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. The Wild Unknown pairs with a lot of things surprisingly well. Okay, and then I'm going off. This has that like darker border, like kind of darker base to the images. This is the Guidebok Tarot. Ooh, I like those. That's the Queen of Cups from the Bonefire and Judgment from the Guidebok. Those look really good. I think the colour palettes work really nicely together. Oh yes, I like this. And also the kind of sketchy style of the art. That's beautiful. Yes, I like this. I like this pairing. Yeah, okay, one more. See, yeah, the colour palettes. That was a lie when I said one more. That one's not great. Ooh, yes. Okay. See, this is why I'm pairing with seemingly every deck in my collection. Maybe the reason the Fifth Spirit didn't work so well was because it was on like a light coloured background, and this is a dark background, and that really works. Although the Nuage was a pretty light coloured background, so maybe I'm making shit up. But talking about the Nuage, this is another kind of grungy looking deck. This is the Deviant Moon, which is a somewhat new deck in my collection that I feel like I've been neglecting. I've kind of fallen off doing a lot of reading recently. I love this Three of Pentacles though. I think I like these. Again, they're both kind of weird. Like similar with the Nuage, like the way the faces are done in this are not realistic. The proportions are a bit off. It looks a little bit creepy. I really like these together. What do you know? I am every second convincing myself of this deck, and I may end up tracking down a copy of the first edition as well because I want those borders. But oh yes, I like this a lot. I like this a lot. Amazing. Okay, that's the Deviant Moon. So interestingly, the Deviant Moon, I have the borderless edition, so it's not even like it's the borders that make it look good to play off against the borderless of the Bonefire. Yeah, weird. This is another dark background deck, but art styles are totally different. We will see. This is the Midnight Magic, aka the Mushroom deck, which pairs with a lot of stuff surprisingly well, so I thought I'd give it a go. And I like that pair. That's really pretty. Six of Cups and Judgment. But I think they're too dissimilar in art style for me. Also, the black background of this is really throwing my white balance off, and I think it's making the Bonefire look even more kind of bright. These two look good. See, I think it's just when the colours look good, I'm convinced by anything. But yeah, what was I saying? Sorry, I'm interrupting myself. This is looking even more kind of in your face because the white balance is thrown off by the black background. So that's a miss, I think. Right, we're nearly there, I swear. Oh, look, 2 aces of coins. That's cute. This is the Lifelines Colour Outside the Lines edition. And I thought since the Wild Unknown worked so well, and that's like black and white with a little bit of colour, this, which is mostly white with black line work and a little bit of colour. Ooh, I like those two. King of Cups and the Death card, which is interesting because King of Cups is Scorpio, right? And Death is Scorpio. Is King of Cups Scorpio? Yes, he must be. Anyway, Scorpio season is my point. Yeah, I think I like these. Again, the white balance thing is not balanced, but I think I like these. And like I said, like it's nice to have a straightforward Rider-Waite-Smith to play off the like chaos of the artwork in the Bonefire. And the Lifelines is possibly one of the most straightforward, bare bones Rider-Waite-Smiths out there, so that works nicely. I've landed on the 9 of Swords again as like the last card that I've pulled. Alright, I have one more deck. It's another grungy one. I don't think it's going to work. I actually have this deck in Purgatory because I can't read with it. But it's the Hush Tarot. And I thought I would just see because we're playing. And my other grungy decks looked good, but I think the art in this is too detailed. And I also don't love reading with the Hush Tarot. I pulled it back out in autumn because I was like, well, I'll give it another go. Have I actually tried to read with it? No. I just need to move it on. Yeah, that's not really working, is it? But hey, can't say I didn't try. Alright. That is it, I promise. This has been a lot of footage of my walkthrough, my first impressions, and some pairings of the Bonefire Tarot. God, isn't that just overwhelming to look at? Apologies. Yeah, that's really not working. Okay, yes, that was my first impressions, first thoughts. I have obviously talked myself into this deck based on the artwork. I'm also going to go away and do some research and see what the changes are between the first and second editions and maybe try and get myself a copy of the first edition and then decide whether to keep both, like some kind of tarot collecting magpie, you might say, or whether to, you know, keep one. We'll see. But I really love the art in this. I knew there was a reason I pre-ordered it, you know. It's just been so long that I kind of lost my initial excitement about it, and then it turned up out of the blue, so I hadn't had time to like get psyched up for it. But I suppose that means that this is a much more genuine excitement about the deck because I'm not overwhelmed with the like dopamine of having placed an order and waiting for the package because it turned up unexpectedly. So I've had to actually talk myself into being excited about it, which is quite cool. So anyhow, right, Editing Sylvie is going to insert this footage into an earlier point of the video because I just kind of finished up and then realized I had ignored the guidebook. So let us have a little look through. A warm welcome. I presume this is Gabby Angus West is the artist, and I assume also the author of this book. And I think this is maybe their tarot origin story. Tattoo in the tarot, which, yeah, again, kind of artwork origin story, maybe. Artistic process origin story. Handbook origin story. I will probably go through and read all this at some point, but not right here, right now. Okay, so this is the Nuages. So it looks as though we have this little paragraph here, which is the kind of like keywords sort of thing, like you use your power to manifest, become a channel, embrace creativity, use your skills and tools. And then Bonefire says, which seems like it is more of a in-depth explanation of the card and the archetype. Illusion, chaos. At least for the mages, anyway. Okay, and here, symbols. So we have got a list of the symbols put into the Magician card. But I'm not sure if these are specifically discussed as to what they mean. What is the cube? Do I have to read this whole thing to figure out what the cube means? And here, the cube represents situations that humankind has created that then goes on to entrap humankind. Okay, so I want to see where else the cube crops up and see if it means the same thing. Because if it doesn't, what is the point in highlighting it as a symbol? Because if it doesn't mean the same thing across different cards, it's not a symbolic language. You can't use the symbol as shorthand for what the card means, like you can in the Rider-Waite-Smith, where like, I don't know, but like, you know what I mean, like colours are consistent in what they mean in the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Thoth and things like that. So the Emperor has the cube, and somewhere it will tell us what that cube means. Oh, the masculine, like I don't love this. I'm really sick of seeing this in tarot decks. Like the Empress presumably is the feminine, yeah, the feminine principle and the masculine principle. Like just take that out. Also alpha male, take that out. You can just say a stable and dominant figure. The structures in which we reside, like that works. You don't have to label that as masculine anyway. Let's look for a cube, shall we? A cube is painted purple to represent his regal presence. So the cube doesn't mean the same thing. Or does it? The cubing of the world, representing the triumph of human order over the chaos of nature. And here, the cube represented a trap that society traps themselves in. So I suppose that could mean the same thing. It's just different perspectives on it. I feel like I need a third cube because 2 points do not make a line, or whatever the fuck the phrase is. What I really want is a little dictionary of what all the symbols are supposed to mean. Glossary of Bonefire symbols, that's what I want. Honestly, why do I insist on making things difficult for myself? Like, let me look them up. Like, no, there's a glossary. Cube, sea, crystals. What? Okay, the cube isn't in here, so I'm just baffled. I'm just confused. Why label the symbols if you're not gonna tell me what they mean? Right. That was something of a tangent. Essentially, we have this paragraph, we have this like in-depth, I like this in-depth explanation of what's actually in the card and what it's showing. And then we have these symbols, but as we saw with the cube example, they are not all outlined in the glossary. So that's mildly irritating. We have less going on in the minors, it seems. Yeah, a bit less going on in the minors, which is unfortunate but standard, so I can't say I'm surprised. You know, we've still got a little image. I don't mind having a little image. I'm happy to have a little image. I don't love the books where you have like a full-page one that's not necessary, but it's nice. We have a paragraph of like keywords, and then we have longer to explain it and the symbols. So yeah, there's obviously like several pages, it seems, for a lot of the majors, and that we have less for the minors, but I'm not, you know, not surprised by that. But yeah, I'm thinking this looks like it's going to be a really interesting guidebook. This is going to be a cool deck to study. There's my lovely Queen of Swords. Who, yeah, like I say, doesn't look as much like a bitch as I like to see the Queen of Swords looking. And is that a negative or singular perspective on the Queen of Swords? Yes, but she's my significator, so I get to say what I want to see. There's our gorgeous Ten of Cups. Ooh, so this is the Nine of Cups. Sorry, this is really pinging about in Sylvie's personal train of thought today. I hope you're enjoying. But the Nine of Cups I was intrigued by because we had our Rider-Waite-Smith Nine of Cups and then more stuff in front of it. Yeah, a clone of the Rider-Waite-Smith was painted in an ornate frame, and then the artifacts in front, this like crystal ball and candle and skull, are set up as a still life to be painted by a Dutch vanitas painter, which makes sense because it does look like a still life collection. Ooh, each element signifies the fleetingness of life and is a reminder of mortality and connected to death. Honestly, I love that as the interpretation for the wish card. And then it has detailed what each of the symbols mean. So, going off my brief skim of this guidebook, I like this as a guidebook because this deck, in a lot of the cards, has really taken a leap from the Rider-Waite-Smith interpretations, but the guidebook is explaining the choices made, which is my beef with a lot of decks that take liberties. Like I was talking about the Cosmic Slumber, and a lot of the cards don't look anything like the Rider-Waite-Smith, but the guidebook is really crap. Look, sorry not sorry. I wish Liminal 11 would make better fucking guidebooks. So first of all, it says here, Tilly Walden, who is the illustrator of this deck, has stated that they hired an assistant to explain what the cards mean, and that this was my true introduction to what tarot cards meant. So I feel like they just clearly had no experience with tarot before, so I have no idea why they made a tarot deck. But anyway, am I being bitter? Yes. My point being, we have like titchy little paragraphs for the majors, and then the minors are like a sentence, and they are consistent with the Rider-Waite-Smith meanings, but the artwork is completely different. And the guidebook does not explain any of the choices made. The guidebook does not explain why the card is completely different from what we're used to seeing, why certain symbols were chosen instead of the symbols that are traditional. Like, I have no issue with reworking the tarot and making it entirely different. But if the guidebook you're going to give me is a standard Rider-Waite-Smith little white guidebook, explain yourself. Like, don't bother at that point, you know? It's just frustrating because I think the artwork's really beautiful, but it doesn't read like a tarot deck. And the guidebook, Tilly Walden is saying, yeah, I didn't know what tarot meant before this project, and I'm not going to explain my choices to you. Like, it's frustrating. All of that to say, this guidebook looks to be doing the opposite, and I'm really like excited to see that. I'm excited to dive into this. Like, even more so, like, I'd already convinced myself that I love this artwork and I really want to work with this deck. But the guidebook and the explanation. I am all about context. If you know me, you know I am all about context and surrounding information. So this kind of guidebook is a dream. Yes. Did we have some spreads and stuff at the back? I know we had a lot of like introductory matter. Okay, Bonefire spreads. Single card doesn't count as a spread, frankly. 3 card. This is new. Winter, past, spring, present, summer, future. Beltane spread. That's cool. Bonefire 8 card enlightener. This is a new spread. Like, when I say a new spread, I mean if all the tarot guidebook is giving me is a 1 card reading, a past, present, future, and like a Celtic cross, like, I'm not particularly interested. We've all seen those 600 times before, but these have been like specifically created to work with this deck, it looks like. So that's really cool. Okay, so we had a couple spreads, and it seems like there's a lot of like the artist Gabby Angus West, right? Yeah, Gabby Angus West. It seems like there's a lot of like essays and personal opinions in here, which I like. Like, I think that's cool. Because this deck has so much personality, so it's cool to see the artist has also put a lot of their thoughts into the guidebook. Okay. There has been much evolution of self and art since Bonefire was first conceived. New characters. Okay, I'm definitely going to have to look up what's changed. Anyway, okay, so that really is everything from me. That's my first impressions on the deck, on the guidebook. I love the art. I'm definitely going to have to look up some comparisons between the first edition and this edition to see what I think, and maybe try and get myself a copy of the first edition and then either keep them both or decide which one to keep. I don't know, that is future Sylvie's problem. But I'm really excited to work with this. And yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have the first and if you would consider this, if you prefer your first edition, tell me why, all that good stuff. Also, if you have managed to successfully pair this deck with anything, please share, because this was a struggle. I think because it's borderless. I'm not, okay, one day I will, no, that's not true. I'm never going to shut up. Yeah, I wish this had even just like thin, skinny little black borders. Like, you see how much better it looks with a border to contain all that like gorgeous artwork. All right, I'm done. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I've been filming for nearly 2 hours, which is horrendous. I have no idea how long this video is, but I hope that you have enjoyed. And yeah, let me know what you think. Give me a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.